Well, happy Saturday afternoon to you. Chris Hare, the world champion crypto cowboy. I hope you've had a great day. But I've taken the strategies that I've learned to become a world champion out in that rodeo arena, bringing them to the crypto desk to teach you guys how to be world champion crypto traders. But we're going to go over Chainlink today. It kind of had a run up yesterday. A lot of the alts kind of took a little run, and now they've kind of settled down, pulled back. It's Saturday. I don't trade Saturdays. I don't trade weekends because you end up right back where you started on Friday. And that's kind of where we're at. But we're going to break this thing down all the way from the hourly chart up to a weekly. We're going to give you short-term and long-term targets. So stick around for the whole video. It'll make a lot of sense once we get to the end. But we start off every day with a crypto fear and greed index, currently at 25. This measures market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared, if they're greedy, exactly what's going on. And what I like to use it for is I make little spot purchases when we drop down into fear. When we drop down to extreme fear, I buy a little more. And then I basically just forget about it. I just sit on it. I don't think about it. But when we start getting up into greed, I go check it out. And usually we're in profit, and I'll dollar cost average out of it then. But I'll show you, I've got a BitUnix exchange set up here. I went ahead and bought 60 bucks of Solana, 60 bucks of Ethereum. Currently, we're about 1 to 2% down on it, but we'll keep up with this, see where it's going to go. If you do need an exchange to trade on, I recommend having more than one. The flash crash on that Friday explains why. You'll find a link in that description or a link to BitUnix. I know you get a first-time deposit and a little better percentage on your trading fees, so check that out. And we'll go on to a crypto altcoin season index. I think it's relevant since we're talking about Chainlink. Currently at a 27. We were at a 28 yesterday, so we're starting to work back out of these oranges again. And I was kind of optimistic after that pump we had yesterday that maybe there's a little bit of more upside going on. But what we really need to see is this drop into these lighter and darker blues, kind of like last month when we hit a 51. And even better, what we need to do is get to like we did November and December, where it went on that face melting run and reached all the way up to an 87. But this is a liquidation heat map. This is what the market makers use to move the charts. They track your liquidity up and down. They don't care where your liquidation points are. All they know is they want them. Everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. So they just work back and forth grabbing these liquidity points. You can see there's an awful lot of liquidity sitting right up above us. There's another pocket here down around 14 bucks. Maybe they're coming out after that. Maybe not. That void right there kind of has me wondering. But cumulatively, we've got about $15.5 million worth of short liquidations, $11.5 million worth of long liquidations. So there's more to the upside, but I think they're going to just work around in here. As long as people are trying to put in heavy longs or heavy shorts, it's just going to waffle around. It's not going to move very much at all. So let's get into the meat and potatoes now. We'll get into the chart. Start off with the hourly. I post all these charts in the Crypto School. You'll also find a link to that in my description as well. Posted some signals earlier in the week. We made a lot of money on this big pullback that you can see on the chart, but we've kind of sat for the last few days just waiting around. We took some small longs yesterday, but we're out of them at this point. We'll go ahead and check that link out. Come over and see us. A lot of great coaches. You'll have direct access to me. All right, enough of that. Let's get into the charts. Currently testing out 50 moving averages right now on the hourly. You can tell we had that dump, and then we kind of worked up and had that big move yesterday that it wasn't surprising to me, but I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to trade. I took some trades as we crossed 50s, but once we stalled out, I went ahead and got out of those trades. But you can see the 50 moving average. This is the yellow is the simple. It takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, works as excellent support and resistance. We're sitting right above it. We're trying to get above the 50 smooth moving average. This is the composite of the simple and the exponential, which I don't really use. But we're also sitting in the hourly golden zone, which is good. We've got a bearish fair value gap. It's not very big. I'm not real concerned about it at this point. But we're trying to cross over those 50s. If we can cross over, get out of this golden zone. I think our next stops are somewhere around 1697 to 1786. The 200 smooth moving average sits right around 1650. That takes 200 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart as well. If for some reason we get rejected here, we lose this golden zone, next stops are 1505 to 1473. If you can't hold that, we're moving down, guys. 1381 to 1315. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, it'll give us a better picture of what's going on in the macro. I really like to trade 4-hour charts, but 1 hour, since it's slow, worked pretty well. You can tell we bounced out of this 4-hour retracement golden zone. We haven't filled out this wick yet, and usually we like to fill out anywhere from 50 to 75 to 80% of these wicks. So that has me concerned. We may be looking for another rejection. We rejected off of this 50 simple moving average the first time. We're coming up to retest it now. If we lose it, I think you head on down 1370 to 1117. If we can get over these twos and get a bullish momentum going, next stop 1788 to 2058 in the 4-hour golden zone. If we get over this 50 smooth or the 200 smooth moving average on the 4-hour, I think we can head on up to extensions 2841 to 3398. Out on the daily chart, gives us a big picture of what's going on and gives us some higher price targets. We would drop down into this golden zone down around 1374, and it came out. We've rejected the top of the golden zone, so that's my concern for a little more downside. But if we can find a way to find support, get over this 200 smooth moving average, get over the 50 moving averages, our next stops would be 2041 to 2380 on up to 3336 to $40.60. So I think we may consolidate around in here. We may go down and try to test this. I don't really see it. I would think we would bottom out at 1221. Bitcoin's trying to make a decision now too. And so it's kind of going to depend on where Bitcoin goes. But the weekly chart's going to show that macro picture. We haven't quite touched this 200 moving average yet. And you can see in the past, we really kind of try to like lose it and then bounce back above it. So that makes me suspicious of that 1218 that we've talked about on other charts. Maybe we're going to go down and try to retest that before we work up. Flipping the script, taking the bias out. If we bounce off the top of this 618, we're headed up, guys. Get over these 50 moving averages. 2041 to 2380 is the first stop on the weekly. 3363 to $40.62 is probably where you're going to top out. If we can get a big run, I don't think you can rule out $60. But that gives you a pretty good idea on Chainlink for tonight. It's kind of undecided one way or another, but we're going to keep up with it. When this thing finally makes a decision, I'll circle back around, do another video for this, and we'll kind of figure it out from there. But from today, I'm not trading. It's really probably going to dictate next week where we really go. But you kind of have an idea. Watch those 50 moving averages, especially on the 4-hour and the 50 on the daily chart as well. They're really going to tell you where our next moves happen. But I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I really appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It all helps the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us get out to more people. But I'm Chris Hare, the World Champion Crypto Cowboy. I want to really tell you, I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you come back and watch for more. But I'm going to end it right here. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. We'll see you down the road.